I found out my husband was cheating on me when I was 7 months pregnant. Not because I checked his phone. Not because someone warned me. Not because he came home smelling like another woman's perfume, or because he suddenly started working late, or because he got careless with a hotel receipt. No. I found out because of a baby registry. Which sounds almost funny if you say it fast enough. A baby registry. The thing you create when you are trying to prepare for a child. Bottles, blankets, tiny socks, pacifiers, a crib you spend 3 weeks comparing because every crib online has at least one review that makes you question whether sleep is worth the risk. That was where I found the first crack. Not in our marriage. In my life. My name is Emily. My husband's name was Jason. And at the time, I was pregnant with our first child. A little girl. We had already named her Olivia Grace. I used to whisper her name when I was alone. Sometimes I would sit on the edge of the bed with one hand under my stomach and say it softly, like I was introducing myself to someone I had not met yet, but already loved more than anything in the world. Olivia Grace. Jason chose the middle name. That is the part that still makes me angry sometimes. Because he said Grace sounded gentle. He said our daughter deserved a name that felt safe. And while he was saying things like that to me, while he was touching my stomach in the kitchen and pretending to be the kind of man who understood what safe meant, he was lying to another woman about what kind of father he was going to be. The baby shower was supposed to be on a Saturday afternoon. My sister Hannah planned almost everything. She was the organized one in the family. Color-coded spreadsheets, group chats, backup plans, emergency cupcakes. If a florist died, Hannah probably knew another florist's cousin who could build centerpieces out of grocery store flowers and dental floss. I loved her for it. By then, I was tired all the time. My back hurt. My feet were swollen. I cried once because I dropped a spoon and it rolled under the refrigerator. Jason laughed when it happened. Not mean laughter. At least, I did not think it was mean then. He kissed the top of my head and said, "Stay there. I'll get it." And I remember thinking, this is what love looks like. Someone picking up a spoon because you are too pregnant to bend. That is the problem with betrayal. It does not erase the soft memories. It poisons them. It makes you go back through every gentle moment and wonder which ones were real, which ones were performance, and which ones were just convenient kindness from someone who already knew he was destroying you. The week before the shower, Hannah came over to help me check the registry. There were duplicate items, a few things that had been purchased but not marked properly, and one expensive stroller I kept hoping some rich and mysterious relative would buy for us. No one did. Hannah sat at my kitchen table with her laptop open, scrolling through the registry like she was reviewing legal evidence. I sat across from her with a glass of water and a bowl of strawberries. Jason was supposed to be at work. At least, that was what he told me. He had been working late a lot. Budget deadlines, client meetings, quarterly reports. There is always a professional-sounding name for cheating. Hannah frowned at the screen. Not a big frown. Just enough for me to notice. "What?" I asked. She kept scrolling. Nothing. Hannah. She looked up too quickly. That was the first thing. My sister was a terrible liar. She could organize an event for 200 people with 3 days' notice, but she could not lie about a text message without blinking like she had sand in her eyes. "What is it?" I asked again. She turned the laptop slightly away from me. "Why is Jason's work email attached to a second registry?" I stared at her. What? She looked back at the screen. There's another registry connected to the same account family. Same last name, different first name. My mouth went dry. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. That is what your mind does when it is trying to protect you. It takes the obvious thing and throws blankets over it. Maybe the site glitched. Maybe someone had the same last name. Maybe Jason helped someone at work with their registry. Maybe this was nothing. Maybe. 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 Maybe it's the first room denial lives in. Hannah did not click anything at first. She just sat there, staring at me, waiting for me to decide whether we were going to open the door. I put one hand on my stomach. Olivia kicked once. Hard. As if she knew something had changed. Open it, I said. Hannah hesitated. Ing. Open it. She clicked. The second registry loaded slowly. I remember every second of that loading circle. The little spinning icon, hum of the refrigerator, Jason's coffee mug sitting in the sink with a brown ring dried around the inside. Then the page opened. The name at the top was not mine. It was Megan Walker. Due date, September 14th. My due date was September 20th. For a few seconds, I did not understand what I was seeing. My brain saw the words, but refused to arrange them into meaning. Megan Walker. Due date, September 14th. Baby boy. I remember Hannah whispering my name. I did not answer. I leaned closer to the laptop. The registry had been created 3 months earlier. There were bottles, blankets, a bassinet, a white noise machine, and the same brand of stroller Jason told me was too expensive for something with wheels. There were also notes. Personal notes. One said, Jason thinks this one looks safer. Another said, Dad picked this color. Dad picked this color. I read that sentence 3 times. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny, because my body did not know what else to do with the pain. Dad picked this color. Hannah closed the laptop halfway. Emily. I pushed it open again. No. You don't have to. Yes, I do. I scrolled. The more I saw, the colder I felt. Not hot, not shaking, cold. Like my body had decided panic was too expensive and shut everything down instead. There were items marked purchased, some by names I did not know. One by Jason's mother. That was when I stopped breathing normally. Jason's mother. Linda. My mother-in-law. A woman who had rubbed my stomach at Easter and told me she could not wait to meet her granddaughter. A woman who had cried when we told her I was pregnant. A woman who had already bought Olivia a tiny pink blanket with her name stitched into the corner. And there she was, buying something for Megan Walker's baby registry. The item was a baby monitor. Purchased 2 weeks earlier. Gift message. Every baby deserves to be watched over. Love, Linda. Every baby. Not every grandbaby. Every baby. Hannah saw it too. Her face changed. Not surprise. Rage. The clean, immediate rage of someone who loves you and does not need time to decide whose side she is on. Do you know her? Hannah asked. I shook my head. But I did know the name. Not well. Not enough to recognize her face instantly, but enough. Megan Walker worked in Jason's office. Marketing department. I had met her once at a company holiday party. She wore a green dress and told me I looked beautiful when I was barely showing. She touched her own stomach that night and said she had eaten too many appetizers. She was pregnant then. And Jason knew. I stood up too fast. The room tilted. Hannah jumped from her chair. Sit down. I'm fine. You are not fine. I said I'm fine. But I was not. My hands were numb. My daughter was moving inside me, and across from me, on a glowing laptop screen, was proof that my husband had built a second future 6 days before ours. 6 days. Our daughter was due September 20th. Her son was due September 14th. I had spent months worrying that Jason would be tired during the delivery. He had 2 deliveries on his calendar. That night, I did not confront him. I know some people think they would. They imagine themselves throwing the laptop at him, screaming, demanding answers, making him choose right there in the kitchen. Maybe I would have done that if I had not been pregnant. Maybe. But there is a special kind of fear that comes with carrying a child. Every emotion feels dangerous. Every shock feels like it might reach the baby before it reaches you. So I waited. I told Hannah to send me screenshots of everything. Every item, every note, every purchase, every date. Especially Linda's gift. Then my sister held me while I cried into her shoulder without making any sound. Because Jason was due home in 20 minutes. And I did not want my face to look like a crime scene. When he came home, he kissed me on the forehead. He asked how the baby was. He asked what Hannah and I had done. I said we worked on the shower. He smiled and said, "Can't wait." Can't wait. He ate dinner across from me that night like he had not split his life in half. He asked if I wanted more potatoes. He complained about a meeting. He mentioned that his mother might come early to help with decorations. I watched his mouth move and wondered how many times it had kissed Megan. I watched his hands cut chicken and wondered if those same hands had touched her stomach. I watched him talk about our daughter and wondered if he had practiced the same soft voice for another baby. After dinner, he put his hand on my belly. Olivia kicked. Jason laughed. There she is. I almost slapped his hand away. Instead, I smiled. It felt like swallowing glass. The next morning, I called my doctor. I told her I had experienced a severe emotional shock and asked if I should come in. She told me to monitor movement, drink water, rest, and come in if I noticed anything unusual. Then I called a lawyer. Not because I had decided what to do, because I needed to know what not to do. The lawyer's name was Karen Mills. She had a calm voice. That helped. I told her I was pregnant. I told her I had discovered evidence that my husband may have another pregnant partner. There was a silence on the line. Not judgment. Just the kind of pause people take when they have to rearrange their tone around someone else's disaster. She asked if I had screenshots. I said yes. She told me to gather documents quietly. Bank statements, credit cards, shared accounts, insurance, pay stubs, anything connected to spending. Then she said something I wrote down. Do not confront him until you know what you need from the confrontation. I asked her what that meant. She said, right now, you want the truth. Later, you may need proof. So I became quiet. Not calm. Quiet. There is a difference. For the next 5 days, I lived beside Jason like I was acting in a play written by someone cruel. He kissed me goodbye, and I checked bank records. He texted me heart emojis, and I forwarded documents to Karen. He asked if I wanted him to install the car seat that weekend, and I found a charge from a jewelry store dated 3 days before Megan's registry was created. Then a restaurant charge. Then a hotel bar. Then a flower shop. Not my birthday, not our anniversary, not Mother's Day. Just flowers for someone else while I was at home folding onesies. The worst charge came from a boutique baby store. Jason had paid for a blue knit blanket. I knew because I called. I pretended I was checking on an order. The woman on the phone was very nice. Too nice. She said, "Yes, Mrs. Walker. It was picked up by Jason last Tuesday." Mrs. Walker. I almost corrected her. Then I remembered I was not supposed to exist in that version of his life. I thanked her and hung up. The baby shower was 2 days away. Hannah wanted me to cancel it. My mother wanted me to rest. Karen wanted me to avoid unnecessary stress. Everyone had advice, but none of them were standing inside my body with a baby kicking beneath their ribs and a husband lying beside them every night like he had not turned our marriage into a scheduling problem. So I made a decision. I would let the baby shower happen. Not because I wanted a party, not because I wanted gifts, because Jason's mother was coming, because 2 of his coworkers were coming, because our friends would be there, because my family would be there. And because I had spent a week looking at proof while he smiled at me across dinner tables, I wanted him to smile in front of everyone. One more time. Then I wanted to show them the file. Hannah thought I was losing my mind. Maybe I was. But she still helped me. That is what sisters do when the house is burning. They do not always agree with the match, but they bring water or gasoline depending on what you need. We printed enough. Not everything. I was not reckless. Karen reviewed what I planned to show. No private medical records, no explicit photos, nothing that would hurt Megan's child someday. Just enough. The second registry, the due date, the notes with Jason's name, the gift from Linda, the financial charges, the baby store confirmation, and the screenshot that said, "Dad picked this color." We put the pages inside a plain white folder. On the tab, Hannah wrote, "File number 006. I asked her not to write anything dramatic. She said, "This is me being restrained." The baby shower was held in my backyard. Yellow and white decorations, little paper clouds, a dessert table with lemon cupcakes, a banner that said, "Welcome, Olivia Grace." I stood under that banner for photos. Jason stood beside me with his arm around my waist. His hand rested on my stomach. People said we looked happy. People say a lot of things when they do not know they are standing in the middle of a lie. Linda arrived early. She brought a gift wrapped in pale pink paper. She hugged me carefully and said, "You look beautiful." I looked at her face and wondered how she slept. I wondered if she had looked at Megan and said the same thing. I wondered if she had bought pink wrapping paper for me and blue wrapping paper for her. Jason's coworker, Mark, came with his wife. Another coworker, Tessa, came alone. I watched their faces when they greeted Jason, trying to see who knew. That is another thing betrayal does. It turns every person into a suspect. At 2:30, we opened gifts. Tiny dresses, diapers, books, a stuffed rabbit from my mother that made me cry for a reason everyone misunderstood. Then Linda handed me her gift. Inside was a baby monitor. The same brand she had bought from Megan's registry. The same model. Same color. Same everything. For 1 second, the whole world narrowed to that box. I heard Hannah inhale behind me. Jason said, "That's a great one." Linda smiled. It had wonderful reviews. Every baby deserves to be watched over. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Then I smiled. Thank you, Linda. My voice sounded normal. That scared me more than anything. The moment came after the gifts. People were eating cupcakes. Jason was talking to Mark near the patio table. Linda was sitting with my mother. Hannah stood beside me with the folder. She did not ask if I was sure. She had asked enough times. I took the folder, walked to the center of the yard, and tapped a spoon against a glass. The sound was light. Almost pretty. People turned. Jason smiled at me. He actually smiled. I think he thought I was going to thank everyone. In a way, I was. I just wanted to say something before everyone leaves. The yard became quiet. I put one hand on my stomach. First, thank you all for coming to celebrate Olivia Grace. She's already loved by so many people, and that means more to me than I can explain. People smiled. My mother wiped her eyes. Jason's smile softened. I opened the folder. And second, I want to thank my husband Jason for teaching me something very important this week. His smile changed. Just a little. But I saw it. He taught me that sometimes a man can prepare for fatherhood in more than one house. No one moved. The sentence landed slowly. Some people blinked. Some looked at Jason. A few looked at the ground, like they already knew where this was going and did not want to be caught watching it arrive. Jason looked at me. "What are you doing?" he said quietly. I pulled out the first page. This is a baby registry for Megan Walker. Tessa's hand went to her mouth. Mark looked down. There it was. Recognition. Not surprise. Recognition. I continued. Megan is due on September 14th, 6 days before me. Jason took one step forward. Emily, stop. No. The word came out clean. Stronger than I felt. No. You don't get to ask me for silence at my daughter's baby shower. Linda stood up. Emily, this is not the place. I turned to her. You bought her a baby monitor. Her face went white. I held up the page. Same brand, same model, same message. Linda whispered, I was trying to help. I laughed once. It was not kind. Help who? Jason said my name again. This time it sounded like a warning. I ignored him. I held up the screenshot with the registry note. Dad picked this color. The yard was completely silent now. Even the children had stopped running. I did not cry. Not then. I wanted to, but something inside me had hardened just enough to hold my face together. This is not gossip, I said. This is not a misunderstanding. This is not stress. This is my husband creating another family while I was carrying his daughter. Jason's father muttered, Jesus Christ. My mother stood up so fast, her chair scraped the patio. She pointed at Jason. Is it true? Jason did not answer. That was the answer. He looked at me, then at the folder, then at everyone else. His face had gone red. Not with shame. With anger. That is something people do not tell you. Sometimes when you expose a liar, they are not sorry. They are furious you interrupted the lie. Emily, he said, we need to talk inside. No, I said. We needed to talk before you made me stand under a banner with our daughter's name while your mother helped buy gifts for another woman's baby. Linda started crying. I did not care. Maybe that sounds cruel, but I had cried quietly for a week so she could sit there and pretend she was a grandmother with only one secret. Jason walked toward me. Hannah stepped between us. Not dramatically, just enough. My sister was small. Jason was not. But he stopped. That told me a lot. He knew everyone was watching. He cared about that. Not me. Not Olivia. The audience. I closed the folder. I have already spoken to an attorney. That was when Jason's expression finally broke. Not when I said Megan's name. Not when I mentioned the baby. Not when his mother was exposed. When I said attorney, I will not discuss this today, I said. I will not be answering questions at this party. I will not be protecting anyone who helped hide this from me. I looked at Linda. She looked away. Then I said the line I had practiced in the mirror until I could say it without shaking. Jason, you can leave now. He stared at me. This is my house too. Yes, I said. And your family is watching you decide whether to make your pregnant wife ask you twice. That did it. Not guilt. Not love. Embarrassment. He looked around the yard. Then he turned and walked toward the gate. Linda followed him. Of course she did. The gate closed behind them. And the baby shower continued. Not normally. Nothing was normal. People whispered. Some left quickly. Some hugged me. Some cried. Tessa came up to me before she left. She looked ashamed. I thought you knew, she said. Those 4 words almost broke me more than anything Jason had done. I thought you knew. I asked, how long? She swallowed. People at work started talking around March. March. The office knew, or suspected. People joked. People whispered. People watched my husband leave work with a pregnant woman and then come home to his pregnant wife. I thanked Tessa for telling me. She looked like she wanted forgiveness. I did not have any to give her. After everyone left, I went upstairs. The nursery was half finished. White crib, yellow curtains, a little wooden shelf Jason had installed crookedly and promised to fix. I sat in the rocking chair and finally cried. Not loudly. Just enough for my body to remember it was human. Hannah sat on the floor beside me. My mother stood in the doorway. No one tried to tell me everything would be okay. I appreciated that. Everything would not be okay. Not for a long time. But Olivia kicked. Once. Then again. And I put both hands on my stomach. I'm still here. Jason texted me 17 times that night. Then he called. Then his mother called. Then Megan called. That one surprised me. I did not answer any of them. Karen had already told me not to engage emotionally, so I sent one message to Jason. Further communication should go through my attorney unless it concerns the immediate safety or medical care of me or Olivia. He replied, "You humiliated me." Not "I'm sorry." Not "Are you okay?" Not "How is the baby?" You humiliated me. I took a screenshot, added it to the folder. The next weeks were ugly. There is no elegant way to dismantle a marriage while preparing to give birth. Jason wanted to come home. Then he wanted forgiveness. Then he wanted sympathy. Then he wanted to explain that Megan was not planned. As if I had accused him of making a dentist appointment. He said he loved me. He said he loved Olivia. He said he was confused. He said Megan meant nothing. Then, when I asked if her baby meant nothing too, he went silent. That was the only honest thing he did. Linda sent me a long email. 7 paragraphs. She said she had been put in an impossible position. She said she had wanted to support an innocent child. She said she never meant to hurt me. I read it twice. Then I replied with one sentence. You chose secrecy over honesty. She did not write back. Megan did. Eventually. She said Jason told her our marriage had been over emotionally. Of course he did. They always say that. He told her we were sleeping in separate rooms. We were not. He told her I knew he was unhappy. I did not. He told her he was only staying until after the baby was born because he did not want to stress me. That one was almost impressive. He used my pregnancy as a reason to betray me quietly. Megan said she did not know how far the lies went. I believed some of it. Not all, but enough. She knew he was married. She knew I was pregnant. No lie erased that. I told her not to contact me again unless it was through attorneys. Then I blocked her. Olivia was born 3 weeks later. Healthy. Beautiful. Angry at the world in the way newborns are, with tiny fists and a cry that sounded personally offended by existence. Jason was not in the delivery room. That was my choice. My sister was there, my mother was there. When Olivia was placed on my chest, everything else disappeared for a moment. Not forever, but for a moment. Her face was red and scrunched and perfect. I whispered her name. Olivia Grace. And for the first time in weeks, the name felt like it belonged only to her. Not to his lie. Not to his performance. Not to the banner. To her. Jason met her 2 days later. In the hospital. With supervision. He cried when he saw her. Maybe it was real. Maybe not. By then, I had stopped trying to separate his truth from his acting. He asked if he could hold her. I said yes. Because Olivia was not a weapon. She was my daughter. And someday, she would deserve to know that I made choices for her well-being, not my revenge. But when he handed her back, he whispered, "Can we still fix this?" I looked at him, at his tired face, at the man who had once picked a spoon up from under the refrigerator because I could not bend, at the man who had picked a stroller color for another woman's baby while our daughter kicked inside me. No. That was all I said. No speech. No screaming. No folder. Just no. A year later, on Olivia's first birthday, I found the old baby shower folder in a box. File number 006. Hannah had written it in black marker. I opened it once. Not because I needed the proof. Because I wanted to see if it still hurt the same way. It did not. It still hurt. But differently. Less like a knife. more like a scar that aches before rain. The registry screenshots were there, the notes, the charges, the baby monitor. And the message from Jason, "You humiliated me." I looked at that one the longest, because that was the whole marriage in 4 words. Not what he did, not who he hurt, not what he risked. What happened to him when people saw the truth? I put the folder back in the box. Then I went downstairs. Olivia was in her high chair, smashing birthday cake into her hair. Hannah was laughing. My mother was taking too many photos. There were yellow balloons in the kitchen. Not the same ones from the shower. These felt different. These belonged to us. Jason came later for his scheduled time. He brought a gift. He was polite. I was polite. That was what remained between us. A calendar, a child, and a history neither of us could rewrite. Before he left, he looked around the room and said, "I still think about that day." I knew what day he meant. The baby shower, the folder, the spoon against the glass, everyone watching. I picked Olivia up and wiped frosting from her cheek. Then I said, "So do I." He looked at me like he wanted more. Forgiveness. Regret. A door left open. I gave him nothing. Because some files are not meant to be reopened. They are meant to be kept. So you remember why you locked the door?
My husband cheated during my pregnancy.
He had another baby registry. Another due date. Another woman. Another future. He let me stand under a banner with our daughter's name while his mother helped hide the truth. He thought I would find out quietly. Cry quietly. Forgive quietly. Disappear quietly. But I did not. I waited until the baby shower. Because sometimes the only way to stop a lie is to let everyone hear it at once. If you enjoyed this file, leave a like and subscribe to the Eris Files. It really helps the channel grow. Every betrayal leaves a file.